Have y'all noticed that the White House is like doing everything that they can to get black people to respond? We not coming outside, bro. In November, when the 92% and the 78% said we're not coming outside, like, y'all got the next 4 years, we meant that. And I feel like they're just getting more desperate with like the attempts of emotional rage baiting, like with the monkey AI video. Like, what? But mark my words, before the end of his term, Donald Trump is going to say that word on national television before this is all said and done. Mark my words.
Praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh. Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and maybe you may be, and wherever you may be, to you I say Shalom, Yasharah, Shalom. Alright, it's going to be a brief lesson here. Just a small talk about basically Jacob's trouble and the civil unrest, which America's headed towards a civil war. And I'm going to start right here in Genesis the 49th chapter. It says, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. And Judah is the head tribe of all the 12 tribes of Israel, which is the tribes the so-called Negroes are from. Excuse me, as we've been talking about, from time to time, we always are looking into ICE situations and things of that nature to see what's happening with that. And the great persecution is, and we spoke about this at camp, just very briefly, but just like the Assyrians came first, to the northern kingdom, and they eventually got taken into captivity, and then eventually the southern kingdom also suffered captivity. And that's similar to what you see happening now with the ICE, with the immigration, enforcement. You see the great persecution started with going after northern kingdom Israelites, which have always been a talk about, the Mexican so-called, the Texas borders and stuff like that. Building up a wall, don't build up a wall, this, that, and the third thing. But now it's spread more, than just the so-called Mexicans, the tribe of Issachar, to other tribes of the north, even reaching, the Gadites, all right, so-called North American Indians, okay? And the point I'm making is, as it spread pretty much to the whole northern kingdom, you see the same thing, like it says in Ecclesiastes. I guess I can get that real quick. Ecclesiastes 1. All right. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be. I'll light it up so you can see it. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. All right. It says, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? Okay, so this ICE situation may be different, types of parties of people, but the scenario has already been of old time. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It has been already of old time, which was before us. And if you read the NLT, it says history merely repeats itself. Straightforward. History merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. Sometimes people say, here is something new, but actually it is old. Nothing is ever truly new. All right. As a matter of fact, if we read the next one, it says, we don't remember what happened in the past, and in the future generations, no one will remember what we are doing now. And that's why the scriptures tell us that the things are written aforetime for our learning. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come, but those that shall come after. All right, because this is, our book is a book of history. It has all types of history within it. Okay. So going back, it says, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. So as we were speaking about, you see the great persecution of the northern kingdom, and it hasn't fully spread to the southern kingdom yet. They did go into Chicago. They went into New York, but that was a brief thing, and as well as they were still going after the north. All right, the southern kingdom just kind of got taken into it, but there's coming All right, and the enemy knows, and I'm not saying the government or whatever. It's bigger than them. It goes back to the bankers, all right, those that are giving the presidents the orders to do what he has to do, because he's a puppet. All right, they know who they are as well as knowing who we are. Okay, and so they need everybody to rise up. As we keep reading, it says, Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art going up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? In the NLT, it says, Judah, my son, is a young lion that has finished eating its prey. Because when a lion has done eating and he's gotten his fill, he's not going to try to chase you down and attack you, like a gluttonous animal or something, a gluttonous lion. Like, oh, I just ate a gazelle, okay, a wild boar, a hyena. No, he's not going to keep chasing animal to animal to animal and keep eating. He's going to eat his fill, and then he's going to lie down in the field and relax somewhere, taking a long ass nap. Okay, so it's likening an actual lion to the tribe of Judah, and a lot of our people suffer from. Let's see if we can pull that up. I don't know if I even have. We can just use this. I'm going to pull up this word here. Stockholm. Here it is right there. What means Stockholm Syndrome? Right? Stockholm Syndrome. Feelings of trust or affection felt in many cases of kidnapping or hostage taking, which in our case, we were taken into the slave trades, obviously against our will, because people are trying to go into Deuteronomy 28 and 68, and go into no man shall buy you, and act like we were offering ourselves to be sold. And like, who wants to become a slave? If I'm free, I have a family, I have friends, I have land, I have cattle, I have substance, why in the hell would I want to put myself up for sale under a straight demon? Like, it doesn't make sense, man. But anyways, it says by a victim toward a captor. So that's what happened. Judah, using people like Bill Clinton, and even at one point Hillary, but overall, like the Democratic Party, okay, they'll try to cater to especially the so-called Negro over anyone else and stuff like that. And so they started to, oh yeah, I'm a Democrat, I'm voting Democrat, you better not vote Republican and all this stuff when you shouldn't be voting at all. So they feel what it says here in the verse, in the first portion of this definition: feelings of trust or affection felt in many cases of a victim toward a captor. And Esau's our captain. The scriptures talk about, he that shall be found with the man in his hand shall be surely put to death. And when the Lord returns, Esau's going to be found with us as his captives, and he's going to be put to death, man. The only ones that are going to make it out of it are those elites that are going to hide into their bunkers. But Psalms, the 149th chapter, covers what's to become of them and the leaders of these other nations that also survive. But anyways, back to the point. Okay, we'll read it one more time. Feelings of trust or affection felt in many cases of kidnapping or hostage taking by a victim toward a captor. All right, so we go back, and there's that video there. But we're gonna, we have it anyways. So Judah, my son, is a young lion that has finished eating its prey. So it's like in the tribe of Judah, or we'll say the whole southern kingdom, to a lion that has eaten, because once a lion is eaten, it just lies down and relaxes. And that's where Judah is now, in this laid back, relaxed state. Okay, and so that's why you've had the recent thing about the the Black Panther people, the glass Black Panthers, because those weren't really no Black Panthers, man. It's definitely agents, but those people masquerading as the true Black Panthers, trying to get Judah to rouse up. They didn't bite. That didn't work. And that's what the chick in the video was talking about. Okay. Then they waited to, which that's a bunch of folly. But so-called this Black History Month, and Trump, posts up the monkey suit of Obama and Michelle as if they're not part of the thing anyways. They're part of it anyways. But making the point, posted up the monkey suits of Obama and Michelle, Black History Month around this time, to do what? To say that they're pushing for the Southern Kingdom to rise up, because you've already had. We talked about this multiple times. There's been accounts of the MS-13, or somebody, one of the so-called cartel gangs, to put bounty on the heads of ICE agents. I think it's like $1,000 or something like that. I think it says alive or deleted. I can't really remember. It was over last year. Then you had the account where I mentioned the principal. I think it was the assistant principal and his brother who got caught talking about, doing things to ICE agents. And there's other people. Oh, you got this fruitcake, Don Lemon, who keeps trying to make all these fancy speeches to get people to rise. So you can see the pattern here, because we can probably keep going. The pattern is trying to get all the tribes to rise up, but the elite know it starts with Judah, the head tribe. Okay, read it again. Judah, my son, is a young lion that has finished eating its prey. Like a lion, he crouches and lies down. Like a lioness, who dares to rouse him up? All right. So it says he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? And ultimately, it's going to be Yahweh Bashmi Shah, who really allows them to do so. And I don't mean that is as in they're just going to conquer, because we're talking about the 2/3. Okay, this is all to move forward. Prophecy. Okay, and we, like I said, we spoke about this briefly at camp. What's going to happen then? He's probably going to push out the quick response forces. Okay, and then when that's not enough, he'll just say, okay, this is happening in multiples, because you notice these riots, or not riots, not really riots. Well, they're somewhat riots, because there's some kind of resistance there, but we'll just say protests for now. You notice as more time passes on, these protests, every situation happens, these protests start to happen across the whole entire country. So imagine protests across the country where you have northern and southern kingdom, the 2/3 of them, rising up to fight back against the agents. Once again, that is what the quick response forces are set up for, to come quell riots. So say that's not enough, then what? He can declare, okay, this is happening in all states. The quick response forces are helping, but it's not enough. I'm going to declare the Insurrection Act, which leads to other things. The Insurrection Act, martial law, the heavy troops, and so on and so forth. This is where Esau wants to take it to move forward. All right. And then you have, I spoke about that. You have these rainbow shootings that keep happening. Notice a lot of these leaders are rainbow people that keeps popping up. So every angle is being covered, and it all is leading up to them trying to carry out a new plan, whether it's mass surveillance, a movement of the troops, or whatever the case may be. And really, it all boils down to, this is part of the Lord's plan. No matter what it looks like, it's all part of what the Lord wants to bring. Okay. Man, I was just thinking about a scripture. I should have got it when I was thinking about it. I think it was something in the Apocrypha. As a matter of fact, since we are speaking about the Apocrypha, that way I won't forget that. I'm gonna need my other book though. We can get that. In second, well, there's one right there. I could use this book. Second Esdras and 9. Right. Actually, I should get the other one. Yeah, let me get that one. I can come back and get this. Well, I can just get that particular verse there, and it says, "Then shall we will 1 through 3. Second Esdras 9 and 1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." So all these different things, okay, that are mentioned. These are the signs of the times of the end. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. And now we mentioned just Babylon the Great, different protests that are constantly happening. But then you also have protests that are happening all across the world, even in the state of Israel, believe it or not, because they're not going to give us every bit of, news and media and stuff like that. Some things you just have to search out. But yeah, you have different protests that happen, sporadically all over the globe. Those are signs of the times of the end. But dialing back in on Babylon the Great, you also had the buying of those facilities, the warehouses, okay, to make for, because the original facilities they had, I think they says the maximum was like 9,500 people or after the expansion, I believe it's supposed to house that many people. But look at how many people live in this country alone. Okay, I'm not going to research that. I probably should research the number. Maybe I can get a general estimate if I pull it up. Let me see here. How many people live in the United States? Get a good estimate. See, as of early 2026, the population of the United States is approximately 342 to 349 million people. Okay, and we don't have to read anymore. It's pretty much just want to get a good estimate there. So what's a 10,000 person facility going to do to millions of people? Because not only are they putting away Israelites, but they're also going to eventually they're going to start to lock away even the heathens and the Edom. Well, the Edomites are also heathens, but I was making a separation there. The other heathens as well as the Edomites too, because you're going to have people that are going to be bucking up and rebelling, people that are not going to want to switch to digital or take the chip or whatever stuff like that. So they're going to need to continually. I wouldn't be surprised if there comes another announcement where he bought more facilities or more warehouses or more wherever he needs to buy, or whoever needs to buy, all right, to house more people. You see, because there's going to be a max influx of people getting moved into these facilities. Let me go over here and get this, because we're in a time of Jacob's trouble and things don't seem as bad as what we see right now, but they are going to get progressively worse. All right, and that's always the message. We are in Jacob's trouble and it's going to get more and more worse. Okay. What verse was I looking for? Yeah, right down here. Actually, I wanted 15. I wanted 15 with the 16. But we'll read this anyways while it's here. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a minute. And the scriptures talk about in Matthew 24 that the love of many shall wax cold, and wax cold goes into cycle. Okay. He says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Okay. So let me get what I wanted to get. I don't know why I was thinking about something else. Let me get to 15 though. Yeah. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another. And this is, see, Esau knows that, and this is what he's pushing for, because it helps him, roll out other things. Okay. So they're because and you even have the northern kingdom crying out for the southern kingdom to help. Now they may not be doing it out of deceit to try to get Judah to just rise up for no reason. They're doing it because they actually want someone to stand up with them. But at the end of the day, all these things pile into one category. Okay, it all leads to civil unrest. It all leads to a civil war, because you're not only going to have the tribes, but you also have other citizens in America, whether they be Edomites or heathens, because you have Babylon, mixing of people. You have people that are with, whatever, the government says or whatever. Then you have people who are saying, no, we're not with this. Look at this situation. Look at how this is and that is, and so on and so forth. So you're going to have different nationalities who are also going to rise up. And as I said before, you see a whole lot of Edomites out here in these protests. Some of them may be pale covered Israelites, but some of them are actual Edomites. But that's just Esau, where he's always somewhere doing something in something. Okay. And when it comes to protests and stuff like that, Esau's there. He likes to be at stuff like that, especially the women. But anyways, you're going to have that. You're going to have different people rising up. And that's what you see happening with these scruffles with ICE. It's because people are, they're shooting out gas canisters, spraying pepper spray. They're throwing the canisters back. People are pushing against the shields, and it's small. It's not really heavy fighting, but it's a small level of a riot. Okay, but it's not high enough level that, oh, we got to bring in the QRF because this is getting out of control. It's not to that level yet, but this is what they want. Okay, if you kind of see where this is going. But it says, one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men. And we go into this word many times, but I'm just going to pull it up in case there's anyone new that may be watching. Right, sedition, conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or a monarch. And if you know, whenever I go into the scripture, I always give you that same example of the Batman, the third movie with Bane, when he was at the football field, all right, and he was, talking about Commissioner Gordon, and he was reading, that resignation letter that he got his hands on, and showing how wicked the police department was and all these different things, and say we accept this man's recognition and da 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 da, and take back your city, and the people are like, yeah, that's sedition. Somebody rising up saying that we should do this. All right, the courts of our actions are going to stand in our power. We're tired of this. The government's not doing that. Look at this. Look at that. Look at our children. Look at this. Look at the housing situation, jobs, da 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 da. Oh, prices of groceries, whatever they need to complain about. Okay, it all boils down to what? People taking things to the streets because voting is not working. All right, going to these different conferences and standing out there is not working. All right, protesting against ICE is not going to work either. None of these things are working. These people are going to eventually take to the streets because once they've been taken all the way down to the lowest point, they're going to take to the streets. They're going to wild out. And through it all is where Esau is going to try to come with his solution, which is the microchip. Okay, say, hey, we have a way out of it. Excuse me. And other things like the UBI, the Universal Basic Income, basically trying to dog walk people right into his solution, which is giving your lives over to the beast, to the system, okay, and becoming permanent slaves through this digital system, man. So it's all planned out, okay. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right. And so you see that you can see that happen. They're trying to get the tribes more than anyone. All right. Because the other nations are going to do what they do, especially Esau. But they're definitely trying to get the tribes to rise up, as we see, as she was pointing out. And my man in the video, which it was his video, but he took that video from her that she put up, because he has a channel too. He be talking about stuff. Checked him out a little bit, which he looked like he probably an Israelite too. But anyways, and I don't mean like appearance wise. I mean, just like I said, I checked some of the videos out. But who knows? I'm not even trying to get into that right now. But the point is there. All right. You see them pushing for the Southern Kingdom to take action, just like the Northern Kingdom is taking action right now. All right. Which not saying that you don't have some of the Southern Kingdom out there amongst these protests, but it's not like, oh, they're out there. Like she was talking about, they trying to get us to, quote, come outside, right? End quote. Okay. He was talking about getting them to hit the streets and riot and everything else like this Northern Kingdom is doing heavily, right? Because they're the ones being mostly persecuted, see? And so they're trying to push, the Southern Kingdom to go out there and take part in this, all right? And then, they have these crisis actors and things of that nature, these different sleeper cells or whatever, where they can just send someone out there, just like they were trying to do with Iran recently, right? Just send someone out there to really, hit the stick, hit the hornet's nest with the stick, and then bam, they got that chaos that they need, and they got all the tribes out there. Okay. We'll read a couple more. We made the point, but we'll still read some more. So it says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, your governors, your, whatever the state says, whatever the federal government says, president, whoever, doesn't matter, because the answers that they're giving is not fitting the solution that they're looking for. So they're taken to the streets. And that's why it says, in the course of their action shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, because of what? Martial law, lockdowns, curfews, but also the civil unrest, the riots, and all those different things. The civil war is going to end up taking place. Okay. For because of the pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but he shall destroy their houses with the sword. but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. See, this is that in between time. See, Esau's going to come. He's probably going to come, a little bit later. Like, hey, I got the solution. But first, he wants the craziness to go on. So, because he wants to break the people down to a level where they feel like they have no other way out except for seeing what Esau has to say and accepting his solution, which is really going to be the microchip. And spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right. So yeah, I'll probably play that video for you one more time, but I'm gonna end it there. Lord willing, you were edified. Shalom.
Y'all notice that the White House is like doing everything that they can to get black people to respond. We not coming outside, bro. In November, when the 92% and the 78% said we're not coming outside, like, y'all got the next 4 years, we meant that. And I feel like they're just getting more desperate with like the attempts of emotional rage baiting, like with the monkey AI video. Like, what? But mark my words, before the end of his term, Donald Trump is going to say that word on national television before this is all said and done. Mark my words.